This is Full Game Prometheus, the only YouTuber that actually shows full games of all the tips and strategies that he posts on his channel. I show you the good, the bad, and the ugly. You get to see live ranked online gameplay where people adjust to my schemes and how well those schemes work for me. So guys, I want to actually go ahead and provide you a video which is something I've been meaning to do for the longest time, and it's just got to a point where I just have to go ahead and post this. This is for new Madden players or people that are fairly new to this game, or just people just want to expand their knowledge of the game and try to add themselves an extra level of defensive skill sets. If you guys are players that playing this game for a long time, you know a lot of these tips, or a lot of these different strategies. So you're probably not going to catch anything on this. So I apologize for posting this if you've been playing Madden for a long time. But this is really for the new players out there that have just picked up the sticks and want to get better at the game. This is going to be Defensive Tips 101, and this is going to allow you to actually teach you how to use a lot of the different types of skills or different type of adjustments to be better at playing Madden. Now, one of the first things you want to do is you want to be able to do coverage adjustments, and this essentially is going to be one of the top things a lot of Madden players do. So whether it's your PS4 or if you're on Xbox, you're going to hit the Y or the triangle button. So when you hit that button, as you can see in the bottom right-hand corner, these are coverage adjustments, and basically with coverage adjustments, you're going to be able to do a bunch of different things. So what spurred me on is I had a comment in a recent video that I guess is how do you base align. So base aligning is probably the most basic thing that you could possibly do. And basically what you're going to do is you're going to hit your Y triangle button, you're going to get your coverage adjustments up. Actually already where they're going to actually settle down. Now conversely, what you can do is you can show blitz, okay, and you can hit your Y or triangle button and take your left stick and flip it to the left, and now you can see everybody comes down, and this guy right here actually falls into a blitzing position. But if you want to go ahead and baseline again, what you can do is just hit your Y triangle button and it's going to put a baseline. Now the key, one of the reasons why people like the baseline is that it does give basically a cover 2 look or cover 4 look. It's going to give a look to your opponent where they're not going to be able to read it correctly. Now I'm actually in a base cover 4, and as you can see right here, I've got 4 defenders that are back deep, meaning I've got 4 defenders that are actually going to be going into deep blues. That's another thing that I can probably do an entire video on, but this is just going to be basic instructions that we're going to take a look at. So baseline is going to go ahead and put the guys in their correct positions, and then show blitz is actually going to bring your defenders down, so it looks like you've got a bunch of guys coming in blitzing like that. Now, another thing that you can do with this is actually you can go ahead and man align. Now, if you hit your Y or triangle button, you can see the little icon that says man align. If you go ahead and hit that, basically what's going to happen is that you're going to have your defenders, they're going to man over on top of your players. Now, if we're in a shotgun formation, this will actually be a little bit more beneficial because you can see how that works. Sometimes you can man align. Most of the top players out there don't man align. They usually base align because what they want to do is make sure that their opponent has to defend against a blitz, and they want to basically show their opponent the same look. So that's just a commonality. There are really good Madden players out there that actually do man align, so I'm not trying to take away from that at all. So this is just the basic set. Another thing you can do is actually go ahead and press. In previous Madden, especially like Madden 05 or 2005, Madden 04, everybody would press. It was so difficult to get off the press, and it was one of the big challenges. So pressing is good, but now newer Maddens, especially this year, you can get yourself in trouble by getting hit up top. Conversely, what you can do is you can give cushion by hitting your Y or triangle button and hitting up at a left stick. As you can see, it takes your guys off. So that's a good situation if you're in a 3rd and long situation, or if it's like right before the end of the half or the game, you don't want to give up any big plays. You go ahead and just push your guys off on a give cushion. So these are the basic setups. This is what you'll see a lot of guys do coming out of the snap of the ball because they're very easy things to do. If you don't understand these controls, you definitely need to do these controls. It's very important to do this. Now, the next couple adjustments that you can do to go ahead and increase your skill set is doing coverage adjustments over the top, underneath, inside and outside. Now, most Madden players in Madden 17 are doing over the top or underneath coverage. And I want to show you how this actually affects the zones. Now, right now, we have two purple zones that are in quarter flat coverage. We've also got a yellow zone. And then we've got two blue zones. Now all the blue zones are always going to be deep. Anything's dark blue is going to be deep zone. But what happens is when you actually do any kind of coverage adjustments, it's going to affect those underneath coverages, which are the purples or the yellows and stuff like that. So if you do over the top coverage, basically you could see it was actually a light purple. Now it turns into a curl flat. So these guys are actually going to fall back into deeper coverages. So if you got a guy that's actually beating you deep, you can go ahead and do curl flats, and actually that's going to help you. Another thing you can do is you actually can do underneath coverage by hitting the L or the Y button or the triangle button and do underneath, and now you can see it actually comes into a hard flat. So what's going to happen is when your opponent snaps the ball, those defenders, this guy right here is not actually going to go ahead and float up like this. He's actually going to float down. He's going to try to defend that line of scrimmage. That's where he's going to float to. So that's why it's important to have the understanding that you can do that. So you know what's good about using the flat coverages and stuff like that is that it's going to help you pull your game in. Now if we do inside zone, it really doesn't make much of a difference. It just kind of kicks, it does a hard flat. Outside zone, pretty much the same thing. It's not going to really affect it. Another top Madden tip is that if you do over the top coverage, from a hard coverage, it turns into a cloud flat. So this defender actually goes ahead, instead of actually staying real close to the line of scrimmage, he'll actually go ahead and float up, and he's going to play up right off. He's going to play the sideline, and he's going to go ahead and play this area right here. He's going to float right around here. He'll take a corner route, and he also will come down to a flat route, but he will let that flat route catch the ball, then he'll actually attack it, opposed to trying to on a hard flat, he'll actually come down and actually try to attack the ball and not even allow the wide receiver catch the ball. So why that's important to know that is that if it's a hard flat, he is going to give up anything above him, where if it's a cloud flat or over the top coverage, he has to defend this area of the field first and then come down and clean up any kind of receptions down there. So that's actually very important to know that. I don't really know a lot of Madden players, and I don't use the inside or outside coverage. I don't see any kind of a benefit to it. So you probably don't really need to have that in your skill set. If any of you guys are watching this and you use inside or outside coverage, actually inside outside coverage is more for man than it is for zone coverages. So that's probably where you're actually going to jump into it. So going back to the coverage adjustments, another adjustment that you can do, which is not really commonly used a lot, is going to be sticks. Okay, so the first down marker is going to be in the 20. What you can do is you actually can go ahead and hit your Y or triangle button, and you can see there the L1 button or the left bumper button, you have sticks. And what this does is it actually tells the zones to float up to the area of where the first down marker is at. So all these zones are actually going to float up. This is particularly good if you're actually running a cover 2, like Tampa 2, and you don't want to give up any kind of yards. You'd go ahead and hit the Y or triangle button, L1 button or left bumper button, and then actually what's going to happen is these guys are going to float right here at the sticks, and they're not going to let anybody pass the line of the first down sticks. So that's very important. So you're in a third down situation or fourth down situation, you want to make sure that you if the person's going to beat you, they're going to beat you deep, not underneath, and that's a good feature to have, or just to be aware of it, that it's in there. So that's just the basics of coverage adjustments. Another adjustment that you can do is the quick adjustment, but I'm going to go into that a little bit later on in this, because this is going to be the coverage adjustments is going to be with not only with defensive backs, but we're also going to do linebackers and defensive ends. It's going to be more of a complex adjustment, but that's what a lot of players do. So individual adjustments too is that if you wanted to go ahead and make an adjustment on an individual player, you can do that. You can actually go ahead and back off of an individual player. or you can go ahead and on an individual player you can go ahead shade right or shade left. So for instance, if you got an opponent that constantly hitting you with a slant route, you can do an individual adjustment, and what's going to happen is this defensive back that we have over here on an individual adjustment, he's going to shade to the inside of this particular player, or shade to the outside, depending on what you do, or the individual adjustment. The individual adjustment is going to let's see here, is going to do press or back off. So you can basically bring one guy down to press. Now, another feature that was used in Madden past that really doesn't get talked about a lot with the individual adjustment is, say for instance you've got an opponent that's using one particular play on a regular basis. In the individual feature, what you can do is spotlight a receiver. So say for instance he's beating you with Steve Smith. What you can do is in the individual feature, what you would do is individual, and you go ahead and put X or whatever the Xbox position, and what's going to happen is all the defenders across the board, they're going to be doing their assignments. They're going to be doing whether they're going to be zone or man coverage, but they're really going to be watching Steve Smith. They know the ball is going to come to Steve Smith. So if you want to spotlight a receiver, you can do that. Now, I rarely use spotlight. Matter of fact, I probably, if I played 1,000 games, I may have used spotlight maybe once or twice. For the most part, it's just not a feature I use a lot, but some of the top Madden players do that. Some of the tournament players that are in the EA Madden Bowl, Madden Classic, Madden Challenge, they do spotlight players too. So that might be something you might want to go ahead and play around with if you got an opponent that's just using one receiver the entire time, and you want to go ahead and try to shut them down a little bit better. So another thing that is very common, most players know this, but I'm going to go ahead and just talk about this too for just basic tips, is basic audibles. Okay, so if you hit the square button on PS4, and I don't know what that is on the Xbox, you're just going to have to go ahead and take a look at the key that I put down in the notes section. It's going to bring up your audibles. Okay, so what you can do is you can reset your play, you can flip your play. So in other words, if you're in a different play, or if you want to flip the play to a different area, you can go ahead and do that. But it also provides you with four different audibles that you can jump into. Now the audibles are always going to be the same concept for the same icon. You have 4 plays you can jump into, and you have a play that you called out of the audible. So one pro gamer tip is never call an audible that you have out of this formation that you never want to call that as your base play. You always want to call something different, so at least you have access to 5 different plays. So a lot of people play a lot of Tampa 2 online, just because it's just a very difficult defense to stop, especially if you have good players. I would never call a Tampa 2 out of the actual huddle, because I can access that as one of my audibles, and it's just a quick adjustment. So basically what's going to happen is you have the cover 2 man, which is going to be a basic defense. Cover 2 man is going to be a defense that's going to be always the top audible. The other audible is going to be a man blitz. So it's always going to be some kind of a zero blitz or a single high safety blitz, but it's going to be a zero blitz, and that's going to be fast pressure, man coverage over the top. You're always going to have a Tampa or a cover 2 defense, a lot of Tampa 2s, or just a cover 2 defense. You're going to have that type of a look, and then your final audible is going to be a cover 3. And there's different variations of cover 3. This is a cover 3 sky, but this basically tells you these are the type of the coverages that you have. So once again, pro tip: do not call out of the huddle one of these plays. This is why I have cover 4 as my base play, is because I want to have a cover 4 shell. But if I have an opponent that I want to mix things up, I'll jump into a cover 2, or maybe I'll jump into a cover 2 man, or vice versa. Now, getting back to the coverage adjustments. Now, when it comes to inside and outside coverage, say for an opponent, you're going against an opponent, he's hitting you with a lot of slants. So basically, it's a route that is going to be going to the inside like this, or a drag, and you want to try to get your corners to go and defend that. One quick adjustment that you can do is, if you're in a man coverage, you can do an inside or an outside coverage. So you would actually hit the wire triangle button, and then you would go ahead and hit the right stick where it says inside. What happens is this cornerback is actually going to go ahead and carry the inside. He's going to anticipate an inside route, and he's going to basically go ahead and carry him to the inside and actually have better coverage. He's not going to go ahead and give that coverage up. Conversely, if you got an opponent that's hitting you with out routes, you can do the wire triangle button to hit outside, and what's going to happen is this corner is going to go up, and he's going to stay to the outside of the wide receiver, so he's going to anticipate an out route, so his coverage should be a little bit better. Now, I don't know a lot of the top Madden players that use a lot of man coverage, and the reason why is man coverage is it can be easily broken down with route combinations, whether it's out routes or in routes. Drag routes, slant routes, those type of routes, post routes will beat man coverage. So when top Madden players actually use man coverage, they use it probably in a hybrid situation where they want to take away someone's read, and they're going to use a lot of different zones all over the area. So we'll talk about that a little bit later on. But this is just essentially the basic instructions for coverage adjustments, and that's going to be your wire triangle button. It should be your friend. You should be able to utilize all of these particular things. Now, a quick adjustment is going to be the zone adjustments for that, but I'll get back to that a little bit later. Quick adjustments is when you're going to go ahead and make adjustments for individual players. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the defensive line adjustments, defensive line adjustments. And basically we've got ways we can go ahead and shift the defensive line. We can spread the line, we can pinch the line, we can move the line left, we can move the line right. Now, why this is critical is that this is essentially going to go ahead and provide you the ability to stop the run against your opponent, or sometimes it's going to be necessary for you to actually go ahead and do this to actually set up those complex blitzes that you posted on YouTube. So to spread the line, basically you're going to hit the left bumper button, and on the left stick you're going to go ahead and push up, and that'll actually spread the line out. Conversely, if you want to go ahead and pinch the line, you hit the left bumper button, hit down to the left stick, and basically you're going to go ahead and take these defensive ends, or the defensive tackles and defensive ends, and actually pinch them down. Now, if you want to go to the right, left bumper button or the L1 button, go ahead and take the controller off to the right, and then off to the left, L1 button, left bumper button, off to the left. So this is going to help you go ahead and do that. You got an opponent that runs the ball right to the right or to the left, you can go ahead and shift them. If he's trying to go ahead and hit you with a fullback dive, you can pinch the line, just make it harder for the fullback to get through that. Or for instance, if he's scrambling a lot, you can go ahead and spread the line out. That might actually help you with some kind of a blitz. So we're going to go back to just resetting this play and get everybody in their places. Now, you can also, with the defensive line, you can slant outside, slant left, slant right, slant inside. So basically what this is doing is with the slant feature is you're going to be going ahead and and forcing the defensive lineman to try to get past the offensive lineman by a certain way. So if I slant the line right, basically what's going to happen is that the defensive lineman, if you can see this guy right here, he's going to try to go ahead and get in the inside of that tackle, and this guy Hayward is actually going to try to go to the outside of that tackle, and this defensive tackle is going to try to get into that A gap between the center and the right guard. So that's what's going to be happening. Now, if we go ahead and do slant to the left, it's actually going the opposite direction. So he's going to try to go into inside that tackle into the B gap. He's going to try to go off to the right, off the left of the center, and he's going to go to the outside. A common adjustment that needs to be made on most of these complex blitzes is slant to the outside. So basically what you're going to have is you're going to have these defensive tackles going to be going to the outside of these tackles. And if you take here, this is one of the real common things. Now, you can barely see it, but what happens right now, you can see the purple between the icons of the running backs and all that stuff. Basically what that means is that this guy is actually in a double A gap, and because of the way I've got this offensive setup, you really can't see it that clear, and I apologize about that, but I just need to power through this tutorial for you guys. He's actually in a double A gap. You see the orange? That means he's actually going to choose which way he wants to defend the center or go after, so that's very critical to do that. Now, conversely, what you can do is actually go ahead and slant inside, and basically it's going to take the defenders and slant them inside. Once again, you got a double A gap with the defensive tackle. So those are adjustments with the defensive line. You can either shift them to the right, shift them to the left. You can also go ahead and do slant to the outside. And when you see these type of adjustments with those blitzes, this is what it's doing it. It's only good if you got an opponent this. I would use defensive line adjustments if I've got an opponent that is scrambling with a quarterback, or if they're actually going to go ahead and or they're trying to run the ball up the middle, or they're running the ball off to the right or left. The defensive line feature is really more geared towards either setting up a blitz or trying to stop the run. Now, the next adjustment is going to be the right bumper button, which is going to be the linebackers. And this is going to be where you're going to be setting up more of these complex blitzes, or actually going ahead and running against the run, or actually setting up quick adjustments or blitzes. Okay, so one of the things I want to show you is that with this particular this scheme, this is one thing, one of these tips I want you to pay attention to. Okay, you can shift you can spread your line out by actually going ahead and the right bumper button or the R1 button, and then actually pushing up on the left stick. Conversely, if you want to go ahead and pinch them down, you can hit the right bumper button and then hit down at your left stick. So this is, you can either tighten players up or tighten them down, and it's critical that you have this skill set in your play. So spread them out, or actually go ahead and pinch them in, and that's going to be essentially adjustment. Now, say for instance your opponent's pitching the ball a lot off to the right, and you want to get just better run defense. A lot of times what you do is you shift your linebackers off to the right, and what's going to happen is those guys are going to completely shift off to that area. So you can see the box is stacked. There's more defenders off to the right-hand side. If your opponent actually tries to go ahead and pitch the ball to the outside, those linebackers should be out there. Conversely, if you want to go ahead and take those linebackers and actually push them off to the other side, you go ahead and do your linebacker adjustment, actually shift them to the left, and they're going to flip over to the left side. So just another programmer tip. If you got if you got your line shifted, you know that this area is going to be blanketed. So if your opponent actually is going to try to go ahead and he wants to pitch the ball, he's doing a lot of outside runs, you got to know for a fact that you need some kind of a defender out here that's going to defend this outside pitch right here. So one of the things I do is I'll bring a safety down and put him in the box down here, and maybe go ahead and click over and center this guy out, so it actually gives just a bigger look like that. That's just a little tip that I would actually show you guys to do. That's some of the things I do when I'm trying to defend the run. All right, so here's when things get a little bit more fun with the linebacker assignments. Okay, so there's a very easy tip that you can do with this. Now I'm going to go ahead and switch up my autos right now. I'm going to go into pinch buck O. All right, so this is man coverage, and all of my linebackers, the majority of my linebackers are actually going into blitzes right now. So what you can do to mess your opponent up is actually you can go ahead and hit your right bumper button or your right R1 button, and you can zone all your linebackers. So as you can take a look here, all these linebackers are in zones right now. Now they're falling into the same area, but if your opponent has a tendency to go ahead and throw the ball over the middle, throw slants, throw streaks with the tight end, this is going to mess up his reads, because that area of the field is going to be clouded by tight ends. Now conversely, if you want to, what you can do is you can go ahead and basically blitz all. All right, so this is another tip too, that if you got guys that throws a lot of runs a lot of passes or runs a lot, you can do blitz all. So you basically hit your right R1 or right bumper button, pull down to the right stick, and it's actually going to show every single defender right there blitzing. So that's actually going to send 7 at the offensive line, and there's going to be a mismatch somewhere out there. Now another adjustment too that is very popular is basically the global blitz, either right or left. Right, so you can see right now I'm still in a cover 4, but there's a couple different ways you can actually blitz those linebackers. Now I prefer to global blitz a linebacker if it's an outside linebacker, primarily because it's faster to do that. So I do so by actually hitting the linebacker adjustment, which is the R1 or the right bumper button, and I'm going to blitz this right of screen linebacker. So if you can see right here, that linebacker's coming in. Conversely, if I want to go ahead and blitz the other one, I'm going to go ahead and hit the the R1 or the right bumper button. I'm going to hit the left stick left where it says left to screen linebacker blitz, and basically now he's in a blitz. So that's a very fast and easy way to get pressure against your opponent with an outside linebacker if you want to get that edge blitz with linebacker position. So the more linebackers you have, the more options you have, so it's just going to make it a little bit easier for you to do that. So that's pretty much it outside of the quick adjustments. I want to show you some other features here that are very commonly used that just most players don't really know about it. Now your left trigger button is going to bring up additional things such as shift defense, shift left, shift right, pinch. Is also going to it's going to guess play, which is going to be pass, run up the middle, run the right, run left. And then a couple other things you're going to see is going to be the QB option, option running back, and the QB contain. Now, the option QB and the option running back are not plays that commonly get used anymore. There was a lot of option plays in previous Madden a couple of years ago, but those are pretty much dissipated with Colin Kaepernick and RG3 falling off the grid as far as being relevant in quarterbacks in the NFL anymore. So it's carried over to Madden. Not a lot of players actually use a lot of option plays, but if you do, you can shut down the option plays with the option QB and option running back if they're abusing you with either the running back or the QB. Now, one of the things you can do is with this, you can do a quick spread, so you can spread the entire defense out, or you can do a quick pinch. You can pinch the entire defensive line out, or you can shift them all off to the right, or you can shift them all off to the right. So this will basically take your defensive line and also take your linebackers and shift them. So that's the only advantage of doing this. I don't necessarily use the defensive set up to make that kind of adjustment, but it's more global, so it might mess with your opponent if you're going to use those features. And this is, once again, this is going to be initiated with your left trigger. Now, one feature I use a lot in this game is going to be the QB contain, and one of the reasons why is that the QB contain is basically it helps you speed up a lot of your blitzes. So what I would do is hit your right trigger button, and basically what's going to happen is you're going to see QB contain. Now if you see right now, all these guys are on red blitzing angles. If you use QB contain, which is going to be the right trigger and then the R1 button or the right bumper button, now you see these guys that are actually in black areas. They're actually going to prevent the quarterback from, their primary goal is to prevent the quarterback from rolling out, and then if they get a free attack to the quarterback, they're going to go ahead and attack the quarterback. So that's one of those things that you can tell is the situation right there with the QB contain. So this is another feature too that you'll use to set up a lot of those elaborate blitzes in the game. So that's why you want to go ahead and have a QB contain, or at least understand how to set it up. And it's good if you have an opponent that likes to roll their quarterback out. You want to have that into your skill set. Now the problem with QB contain is that they don't necessarily go ahead and try to attack the defensive line. So if you only have 3 guys rushing the quarterback, they are likely to go ahead and get ran over if the guy jumps into a running play. So it's very important that you have at least 3 guys, because anything less than 3 guys, the offensive line is going to get a huge advantage in this game. It's the way the game has been programmed. All right, so those are the different adjustments right there. Another adjustment I commonly do too is guess play. So if you think that your opponent is going to run the ball to the right, you go ahead and hit run the ball to the right. If you think he's going to run the ball to the left, you go ahead and run the ball to the left. Or if he's going to run the ball up the middle, you go ahead and run the ball up the middle. That actually will go ahead and commit your players to stop that particular run. The problem with run commits, which is run right, run left, run up the middle, is that they will completely commit to the run, and they will be completely out of position for any kind of coverage they're supposed to be in. So whether it's man coverage or zone coverage, it's critical to realize that you can get yourself in some serious trouble with run commits. So I would recommend only using run commits if you have an opponent that's really abusing you with the run, or there is a fourth down situation and they're going to try to go ahead and run the ball up the middle. Now, one of the common adjustments that I do is that since Madden 17 and Madden in general is so pass focused, is I always go ahead and pass commit, especially if I've got an elaborate blitz setup. Because if you have a very elaborate blitz setup, you want to have a pass commit, because if it is a play action situation, what happens is the blitzers will not go after the quarterback. They'll actually go after who they think they have the ball. So it's critical that you actually go ahead and have this as part of your adjustments. So I'll give you an example. Let's go ahead and just reset this play. All right, so I've got myself a blitz that's going to basically get to the outside. One of the adjustments that I need to do with this particular blitz is I need to go ahead and pass commit. That way, these guys don't get tied up into any kind of into any kind of play action. So if this guy does try to do a play action, they're going to come in after the quarterback. They're not going to be concerned about what happens to the ball. Their primary goal is to go after the quarterback, and their secondary goal is to go after the running back. So if I don't know if the opponent's going to run or pass the ball, I'm just going to leave it as is. If I know he's going to be if he's in a passing situation, I'm always going to pass commit if I can get to this. But this is going to be one of the last adjustments I'm going to do before he snaps the ball. So sometimes I might not be able to get to it, but that's because a lot of these adjustments are pretty elaborate and all that. So these are basically the kind of adjustments that you would look at. These are the base adjustments, and if you can understand how to do these adjustments, it's gonna take your game up to the next level. Now we're going to talk about individual adjustments and how they work. And this is what you have when you have a lot of people that are running a lot of hybrid defenses. Hybrid defenses is where you have man and zone coverage. So right now this is basically a zone. This is basically a zone coverage. But a hybrid defense essentially is going to be taking a few of these defenders and putting them on man coverage. Now, with making hybrid defenses, what you can do is the best way to do this, and it's not how I do it, because I was taught I used an older method to actually go ahead and make man adjustments, and that feature is still available. But the best way to do this is to actually go ahead and make an adjustment based on the position. So I've got 4 defensive backs. They're all back. I've got my linebackers. I've got 4 linebackers that are here, and I've got my defensive linemen. Now, if I want to go ahead and take a defensive back and actually put him in position, I'm going to hit my wire triangle button twice. And now you can see it says select defender, select defenders, and you see the icons that match for the defenders that I want to go ahead. Now say for instance I want to take my triangle defender, which is Mitchell. I want to go ahead and man him up against Wallace. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hit Mitchell, and I'm going to be given 4 different options. I can put him on a deep zone, I can put him on a flat zone, I can put him curled to flat or a hook zone. Conversely, I can go ahead and man him up, or QB spy, bluff blitz, or basically blitz. Now, for the sake of this, we're going to go ahead and man coverage, and we're going to go ahead and put this guy over in the middle. So he's going to be floating over to Wallace to go ahead and take him away. Now, what I could do with this guy is actually going to do the same thing. We're going to go ahead and double tap a Y or triangle button. We're going to hit X, and now we've got our choices. We're going to go ahead and take the other defender, and we're going to put him in a blitz. So we're going to pull down on the right stick. So this is going to be the look like this. So now I'm actually going ahead and I'm making individual adjustments based on what my opponent is attacking me with. So what I can do is I can go ahead and double tap my Y or triangle button, hit the square button for the defender. I can man this guy up against Pitta. And now I've got a defensive look that looks like this. So this is basically a hybrid coverage. This is what a lot of top Madden players do, is they'll actually go ahead and set up these elaborate blitzes. They're going to do hybrid coverages. Now conversely, you can do the same thing with your linebackers. Now I've got this linebacker that's actually in a blitz. This guy right here, he's in a blitz, but I don't want him to be in blitz. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the right bumper button twice, and then I'm going to go ahead and pick him up. I'm going to man him up against, let's say, I'm going to man him up against Steve Smith, because I'm keep getting beat with that damn slant route. Conversely, I can go ahead and take the right bumper button, and I can go ahead and man up the running back, because what happens is my opponent keeps hitting me with a slip screen. So I can go ahead and show my opponent the same type of look, but I can go ahead and put hybrid coverages out here. Now, why this is key is that you can do these man coverages or you can do these special adjustments, but your opponent, when he comes back to the huddle in a game, he's only going to see this as your base defense. He's not going to see the individual adjustments that you put these guys in. He's only going to see cover 4. He's going to say, well, he was running on cover 4. However, it didn't look like that because I swear to God, Pitta should have been wide open over the middle, but it seemed like he had like 3 people on him. I don't understand why that was going on. And that's because you're getting hybrid coverages against you. Now, there's pros and cons of hybrid coverages. Hybrid coverages, generally, you're not going to have a lot of pressure. You're not going to be able to blitz someone if you're running a lot of hybrid coverages. Also, when you run hybrid coverages, there's going to be holes in your defense somewhere. But the pros to it is that it does confuse people's reads, especially if they're going after the play is over with and they're looking to play art. It's not going to be consistent with what they're seeing. Now, another trick too is that you can go ahead and do the same thing with your defensive tackles. You can hit your left bumper twice, and you're going to be able to go ahead and do the same kind of adjustments for your left tackle. So let's say, for instance, my opponent is attacking me with the tight end. I can go ahead and hit Haywood, man up, and now I've got the defensive end. Actually, he's going to come off the line with my with that tight end and follow him across the formation. Now the tight end is generally going to beat him in coverage, man-on-man coverage, but it's just going to go ahead and mess up your opponent's read a little bit. Another adjustment that you can do is you can actually go ahead and zone up your defensive tackles. So one of the things I like to do is actually put a defensive tackle in a spy. And that's one quick adjustment you can do that. So here is the key. This is probably the most important thing, and this is one of the things that I need to do too, because I was used to doing old adjustments where I'd actually go onto the man and do an old adjustment where I would actually go ahead and do the adjustment by clicking on with actually clicking onto these guys. That was basically how I used to make my adjustments, because that's how the game used to be a few years ago. It's just not efficient because when you run into an opponent that quick hikes you, you're not going to make efficient adjustments. So my recommendation is for you guys, if you're new to this game, learn how to go ahead and make your adjustments with your defensive backs. Learn how to make your adjustments with your linebackers. Learn how to make your adjustments with your defensive tackles or your defensive linemen with the quick adjustments. Because if you learn how to do that and you've got the muscle memory down, that's going to make your adjustments a lot quicker and a lot easier, especially when you're setting up any kind of complex blitzes. So those are basically the blitz adjustments, the different assignments right there. Outside of that, these are just basic adjustments that you can do. Now, you're not going to pick this up overnight. This is going to be something you're just going to have to get a little bit better at. But if you understand base aligning, pressing, all that type of stuff, shifting a line off to the right, shifting a line off to the left, that's going to help you with your game dramatically. So guys, if you guys picked up any kind of tips from this, just let me know. Hit a thumbs up if this actually helped you with your game. If there's any other things that you guys do, as far as if you actually sat through this and you're actually an expert player or a very experienced player, and there's other kind of adjustments that you guys do, just go ahead and share that in the comments sections too, because I think this is going to help you guys with taking your game to the next level. So once again, to my subscribers, I appreciate the support. I hope this helps you take your game to the next level. Once again, I really appreciate all the likes, all the comments, and all that stuff. And until next time.